Okay, so this is my review of the Galaxy Fold 5, my real thoughts and impressions after using this as my daily driver after 2 months. So a lot of foldables have been introduced this year. So the first one I want to review is the Galaxy Fold 5, 2 months as a daily driver, and I want to share with you guys my thoughts and how I got on. So let's start off with the design. And I'm sure this one's obvious. The design and build is no doubt premium. It feels as premium as the Fold 4. In fact, there's not much difference between them when you're holding them in your hands. They feel very similar, but I will show you the subtle differences. The camera bump design and layout, first of all, is exactly the same apart from the LED lights, which has been shifted to the right. At the bottom, you will notice the ports, exactly the same layout, antenna lines, ports, everything is exactly the same. The buttons and the top as well, you can see, identical. And visually, at a glance in my hands, the dimensions and the weight, everything feels the same or very similar. In fact, my favorite Galaxy 4 case, as you can see, fits perfectly fine on the Fold 5. And I'll quickly show you why it's my favorite case, because it's got a kickstand, so you can prop this thing up on the table to watch movies. So really nice case, and it fits absolutely fine on my Fold 5. So we do have a brand new hinge, which means no gaps when the phone is folded, and you can see the difference there. And the point is, it's less likely to let dust or water sit between those displays. If you look closely, you can see that the new hinge is slightly slimmer. Apart from that, visually, you can't see a difference in the mechanism, the way it opens and the way it closes. So design-wise, you're getting the same premiumness of the Fold 4, maybe even slightly better. You're getting the same IPX8 rating for water resistance, plus better hinge with no gaps. Now let's discuss the screens. They are great quality screens as expected from Samsung. You got the 6.2-inch front cover display. Open it up to a large 7.6-inch main display. Strangely enough, I was not satisfied with either screen. So when you're thinking about Fold 5, I'm sure you guys are wondering how awesome your videos are going to look on the main display. But here's the thing, when watching movies with the main screen, the 4:3 aspect ratio is not designed for movies, and you're going to see black bars at the top and bottom. You could zoom in, but then you're basically cropping the image, and then you're going to miss out a lot of the action, what's on the screen. So unfortunately, the black bars, the aspect ratio, takes away the benefit of having a big screen, especially for watching videos and movies. Now let's talk about the cover screen. It's a bit more narrow than a normal Android phone, and it means that the phone is quite comfy in your hands, and you're probably less likely to drop it for this reason. But the not so obvious advantage, which I wasn't expecting, is watching movies. Surprisingly, I found myself enjoying watching my videos and movies on the cover screen rather than the main screen, as that slightly wider aspect ratio looked much better, and also the fact that I can prop this on a desk, it means comfortable viewing angles. So that was my experience of the screens when it comes to consuming multimedia content. But saying that, playing games on this phone was actually very enjoyable. Now, regardless of which screen you choose, you're going to get full screen action. My favorite game, COD Mobile, well optimized for this display. Now I also want to quickly mention the software. Samsung software is probably the best I've ever tested when it comes to foldable. The multitasking capabilities is only limited by your imagination. You can open 2 apps side by side. I love how the navigation bar works, and it's even there available when you open full screen apps. And if it's not, you just swipe up and it comes up straight. It's a very well optimized software, and I've always liked it. All right, so now let's talk about the crease. The main inner 7.6-inch screen does have a noticeable crease going down the middle, same as the Fold 4. But what's interesting about the crease is when you're watching content, movies or videos, or even games, when looking straight at the screen, the crease is not apparent. It's less visible to the point where you actually forget about the crease. So certain angles will make the crease look worse. So if you're playing a game and you've got a passenger or a mate sitting next to you, they're certainly going to see that crease across the screen. But yeah, when you're looking straight on, you're not going to see the crease. So that is at least a plus point. Now, one advice I would certainly give you guys before you're going to purchase a foldable phone, and there's quite a few out there, make sure you go and try it. I think it's definitely important to get some hands-on at a local store, open a few apps, open a video, see what you think of the crease, because this is something that you can't avoid. The crease is going to be there throughout, and maybe after a year it does get a bit worse. So this is a kind of new phone, 2 months old. You can see what the crease looks like, and if I compare it to a year-old phone, that's how the Crease gets. It gets a bit more serious, the Crease does. So yeah, you got to bear that in mind. Anyhow, moving away from the screen to the processor. Now this phone is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, and of course that is one of the most powerful chipsets currently available for Android phones. And I believe it's a slightly optimized version of this chipset to take advantage of the hardware and unique form factor. Now to compare and to see if there's any difference, I ran Antutu benchmark tests on the Fold 5 and compared it with the S23 Ultra, which has exactly the same chipset. So I ran Antutu benchmarks on both, and here are the results. So you can see the Fold 5 has a slightly lower score than the S23 Ultra. Of course, not a major difference between them, but if we compare each category, you can see the GPU has the biggest difference between them. Everything else is quite similar. Now I also compared the temperatures, so both phones started at 34 degrees Celsius, and by the end of the test, the Fold 5 was at 43 and the S23 Ultra was at 40. So the Fold 5 got slightly warmer to the touch, again, not by a massive margin. And also keeping those comparative juices flowing, I pulled out the Fold 4, Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, and you can see we've got a score of 950K, 1.4 million and 1.5 million. So that shows you how much more powerful the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset is, and you can see the results for yourself. Now let me talk about the battery life. We have a 4,400 milliamp hour battery built in, which supports 25 watt fast charging. That's fast wired charging, and you've got 15 watt wireless charging. Now I was able to achieve around 11 hours of YouTube streaming using the larger display and with the brightness set to medium. Now the same test with the outer display, and I was able to achieve a massive 16 hours of YouTube streaming. So do expect a very good battery life with this phone. Charging speeds are not the best. I'm sorry, 25 watt charger, it would take 1 hour 30 minutes to get from 0 to 100. So compared to other Android smartphones and even flagships, it feels quite slow to charge. Cameras are good, you can shoot some decent photos and videos, and if we compare it to the Fold 4's cameras, it feels like nearly the same experience. And if we compare it to the S23 Ultra cameras, then of course the Ultra is much better. So I guess it feels like you're not getting your money's worth on the camera side. The price of the handset does not reflect the overall quality of the cameras, but I suppose they've given you the best cameras they could possibly fit into this design. So bottom line, probably one of the best folding smartphones currently available. Yes, it's very pricey for what it is, but you're getting great software combined with great hardware. Now, if you have a Fold 4, I don't even think I need to mention this, there is no reason to upgrade. If you don't have a folding phone at all, and this is possibly your first and you can afford it, then certainly go for it. Other options you have is the Samsung Galaxy Flip 5, which is a very nice smartphone, and my full review is coming very soon. Very nice alternative. And we've also got the Oppo Find N2 Flip. So other options are available, but to avoid disappointment, as I mentioned earlier, good idea to get physically acquainted with a foldable before you buy it. Just check out your local phone store before you pull out your wallet. So that concludes my video going over some of the pros and cons of this smartphone after using it for over 2 months. It's been a great phone. The hinge still feels like day one. I do find myself doing this a lot, just out of testing purposes, maybe a bit of habit as well. Even my Fold 4 hinge is nice. It still feels great. It's not become loose or anything like that. So rest assured, if you do decide to spend this kind of money, you are buying a quality product when it comes to the Samsung Galaxy Fold 5. Hope you found the video useful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.